Good morning, everybody. It is the Down Under Entrepreneur here, and we are coming to you from the lovely Cairns, North Queensland, Australia. It is raining outside today, which is good because it was getting a little bit warm, so everything's cooled down nicely again. And it is a Wednesday morning, so happy hump day to everybody out there. Uh, so, today, what I want to talk about, I remember watching a Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he spoke about um, the best way to learn the financial wisdom that you need in order to manage money and sort of grow businesses and all that sort of stuff. In one of his speeches, he said it was by playing video games or playing games. He said because they don't teach you that in school. So if you want to learn like financial wisdom, he said go and play games that teach you about money. So today's video is maybe it's a little bit controversial. It's a little bit out there, but in my opinion, it is the top five games that make my list anyway that will teach you about managing money and your businesses and all that sort of stuff. So before we jump in and have a look at what those are, guys, if you like the content here on the channel, smash that subscribe button. Um, you know, give us a thumbs up and drop your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Obviously, if you think there's something else that's a great game that will teach you about managing money and businesses and all that sort of stuff that haven't made my list, then obviously feel free to let me know in the comment section. So that said, let's jump into it and have a look. So the number one game, in my opinion, or one of the number one games, it's a bit of an older game now. It's a free download, but it is called Transport Tycoon. Okay, so this one here literally starts in something like I think it's like the 1940s or the 1950s. You start with like £200,000 or dollars or whatever it is, and the concept of this is to basically build a transportation company from the ground up. You start, it's a $200,000 loan. Okay, you've no assets, you've no vehicles, you have no nothing. So what you literally need to do is find resources on the map, connect them with either truck depots or train depots, all that sort of stuff. And you basically need to, for example, one of the resources might be iron ore, and you need to transport the iron ore to a steel mill. So you need to find an iron ore mine, and then you need to transport that to a steel mill. However, the good thing about this game is it really teaches you that um, if you travel a short distance, then obviously you get paid less money because you're not carting the freight, the freight very far. So that can be bad for you because obviously you've got running costs of your vehicle, you've got breakdown costs, you have upgrade costs. As the game progresses, newer and more up-to-date vehicles become available to you. Um, but then at the same time, if you're transporting, something by train from one end of the map literally to the other end of the map, then if it spends too much time in transit, then the value actually decreases, so you get paid less money. And it also teaches you about, you've got to be constantly upgrading and maintaining your vehicles and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really, really, really good, little game. It's very, very simple. The graphics aren't fantastic. The download size is like 9 or 10 megabytes, I think it is. So it's a really, really good game to get into and play. And I mean, hey, let's be honest. If you're a guy and you're watching this, it's big trucks, it's trains, it's boats, it's planes, all the fun things that we like. And look, there's plenty of girls out there that like that sort of stuff too. So guys, definitely check this one out if you're looking for something to, you know, give you a basic understanding about the fundamentals of sort of running a simple little business. So number two is Rome Total War, or pretty much anything in the Total War series, I would say. but I choose Rome Total War. That was sort of like the first big Total War game for me that I played, but not probably so much Rome itself. I'd look at like one of the mods like Europa Barborum for Rome because it really adds a different aspect to it. So this one is obviously, you start as a particular country. The concept is you obviously got to manage settlements, upgrade them, keep your population happy, build militaries, expand across the map, conquer, blah blah blah, all that sort of good stuff. But with the Europa Barbarum mod, it really sort of teaches you that sort of you have to work on building your core and your base and your economy before you expand. Because if you just try to build a big army and expand, then you're going to run into all sorts of problems and you're going to sort of go bankrupt and all that sort of stuff. And then there are things like trade. You have to trade with countries in order to get extra revenue and whatnot. So if you want to learn a little bit about some sort of moving pieces around and basically building that sort of that financial empire, because the reality is whether you're in business or whether you're running a country, money is a very 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 key thing. Okay, so this one is definitely worth checking out if you want to learn a little bit about sort of you know managing money and building an empire from the ground up. And this obviously classic. Everybody's heard of Monopoly. It's the real estate game, but the one thing I found about Monopoly is it really brings out the competitive edge in a lot of people. Because the reality is, if you're going to make it in business today, guys, you have to be competitive. Absolutely 100%. Being competitive is essential. Um, so Monopoly is a great one. Obviously you have to buy and sell properties, you charge rents and revenues, you have to pay other players get to play you, and if you're lucky, you've got the biggest monopoly at the end of the game. Um, so I'm sure we've all played Monopoly at some point in time. But yes, and I believe this was the game that Robert Kiyosaki actually specifically mentioned in the video of his that I watched, where he talked about playing games to learn about managing money. So number 4 on my list is the Hearts of Iron series. Why does this one make the list? Yes, it's a World War II grand strategy game, but there's a lot of things that comes into this, such as diplomacy, and being diplomatic and negotiating with people in business is very important, as we're all well aware. It also teaches you about managing an economy. Resources are absolutely vital. You've got to make sure you've got the the right resources to get the job done. Um, if you, for example, in this one here, obviously it's World War Two, so it's tanks and planes and infantry and all that sort of stuff. But if you send a bunch of tanks to go and fight a bunch of mountain infantry, um, in the mountains, then 9 times out of 10, the mountain infantry are probably going to sort of withhold and sort of stop your attack. So it really, really sort of teaches you and makes you think about, okay, I really need to have the right strategy here, and I need to have, the right assets and, the right pieces in the right places. And it's really, really vital in any business. Okay. So definitely check this one out. It's also a fun game. It's great to play with friends as well. So, um, and this one here, Victoria 2. It's another Paradox title. So, whether it's the original Victoria or this one here, I do recommend this one. Obviously, this one's set in the early 19th century. I think it starts about 1836 or something like that, the timeline for this particular game. But why did this one make it? Because obviously it's about the age of colonialism, expansion, da 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 da. Like most of the Paradox titles out there, you can start as like a tiny little country and grow it into an empire, or you can start as a big empire and turn into a global power. Um, but the big thing about this that I find interesting, this particular game, is you have what's called pops. Now, each pop has different needs and requirements, and if they're not being met, then obviously they become rebellious and it can completely ruin your game. Um, It's also about managing, an economy, tariffs, taxes, all that sort of stuff. Because like any strategy game, if you haven't got your economy in check, then you're in big trouble. Excuse me. Um, but this one here again, obviously logistics, having the right pieces in the right place, all that sort of stuff. Diplomacy, negotiation. So this has really kind of got everything. But this teaches you that in order to have um, a successful business, you need to keep your customers happy. You also need to keep your team or your staff happy as well. The best way to do that is to ensure that they're getting what they need. And that's really, really good with this game because it really, really forces that aspect of, making sure people's needs are being met and being fulfilled. And that's the reality. In any business, if you want to be successful, you have to look at whoever your target audience or your target customer base is, um, and you need to fulfill their needs and their expectations of you. And if you manage to do that, then that's like half your battle won, guys. So apart from that, guys, that is my top five. I'll leave links down in the description where you can get most of these games if you do want to try them out. Probably at the moment, Amazon is probably the best place to go for most of these because they're having their big Prime sales at the moment. Um, Apart from that, like I said, it's hump day. Week's almost over for some of us. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Have a great week. And don't forget, smash that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. And leave your comments in the comment section. And like I said, if you think there's another game that should make this list, that's really good for teaching people how to manage, money and economies and sort of people and logistics, all that sort of stuff, then leave it down in the comment section so we can all check it out. Apart from that, that is all I have for you guys today. So thanks for watching. Cheers.